there, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Mia and I am the maker behind Knit and Grace. And today I'm going to bring you another free pattern video. So back in the fall, I made a video on 10 free sweater patterns, which totally hit it off. I think I have over 11,000 views on that video. But I actually got a lot of really good engagement on that video as well with regard to comments, you know, people being thankful about me sharing these patterns, and I just wanted to go ahead and do the same now that we are transitioning here in the Northern Hemisphere. And so, yeah, I think that, you know, obviously we all have our different designers that we love to follow and different patterns, and there are always new patterns coming out. And of course, you know, paying for patterns is definitely, you know, worthwhile. The amount of time and effort that goes into creating a pattern is pretty intense, including, you know, not only making your own sample, writing it, having it go through the testing process and all of that. So it is very labor intensive process. So definitely when you're able to, it is worthwhile to pay for a pattern. However, you know, sometimes we may be strapped for cash. You might want to maybe invest some money into the yarn as opposed to a pattern, or just sometimes you even just have yarn in your stash that you want to use up and you don't really know what you want to knit. And yeah, so sometimes you just want to look for free patterns. So now that we are transitioning into the spring and then ultimately the summer here in the Northern Hemisphere, I wanted to pull up some free spring summer sweater patterns for you all. So another 10 patterns, and I actually do have another bonus pattern that I'm going to share with you. Also, I will say that a lot of the patterns, especially like the cardigans that I shared in my last video, which I will link below, do transition into this type of transitional weather, because of course a lot of it is not only the pattern itself, but also the materials you use. So going into, you know, the spring and summer, you'll probably want to use more cotton and linen blend, even if it has a little bit of wool. These particular patterns, for the most part, that I chose today also have a smaller gauge yarn, so that also makes the project, you know, more flowy type of material and that kind of thing. So there are so many patterns out there that you can really change up the look of with regard to, you know, the yarn that you use to knit it up. So I have my list here on the side, and the same as last time, I will pop up some screen grabs of the pattern, but I don't want to make this video long, so I will get right into it. So the first pattern that I want to share with you is the Truscal Jumper by avec, and this is a pullover, so it's not a cardigan, but it is DK weight, and it is a raglan pullover. So it has really pretty yarn over details on the raglan increases, and the nice thing about this pattern is that it goes all the way from child all the way to an adult size 65-inch bust. So you can get a lot of bang out of this pattern if you want to make it for a child, a teenager, yourself. This would be a really good pattern to make. Again, it is DK weight. She uses, I believe, some wool yarn in hers. However, if you use a cotton blend yarn, I think that this pattern would work really well, because it is sort of knit up on a little bit of a looser gauge. So it's really nice and airy fabric. The next pattern is the Autumn League Pullover by Alexandra Tavel, and so this is actually like the companion pattern to the Winter League Pullover, which I talked about in my last free pattern video. And so this one is knit up in a DK weight yarn, and I think that this would be a perfect sort of transitional sweatshirt pattern if you knit it in like a cotton wool blend, or even a straight up cotton blend. You know, I think that when we're in that transitional weather and you just want a layering piece, this is a really nice sweatshirt style pullover, which will really go with everything in your wardrobe. Then next up, I have the Ballerina Wrap top, also by Alexandra Tavel, or Tavel, I should say. And this is a really beautiful short sleeve wrap top, ballerina style. I think that everyone needs a little ballerina wrap top in their wardrobe. It's just really simple. You can throw it on over a sleeveless dress, or you can just wear it with jeans or shorts. So you can really wear it for a number of seasons depending on the material that you use. You can even like choose to use like maybe you know, a cotton with a mohair. That might be nice, so you get like a little bit of the fluff and warmth, but still, you know, drapey material. You could really do a lot with this pattern, I think, and it's just a beautiful, simple ballerina wrap top. The next pattern is the Notting Hill pullover by The Noble Thread, and this is a beautiful DK weight color work pullover. And so it is a yoked sweater. It has color work in it, and it's just really simple, clean lines. And I just really thought it's a beautiful pattern. I can't believe it's a free pattern, but it's a really beautiful pattern that I think would be really nice for the transitional months, especially if you make it in like a cotton wool blend, to give it a little bit more of structure. I don't know if I would ever knit a color work top in a straight cotton blend. I'm not sure how that would look, but definitely a cotton wool blend, I think, or a linen wool blend would work well, or even just like a softer wool for that transitional weather, you know, when the weather is still cool, but you know, can wear short sleeves. The next pattern, I'm sure butchering this, but it's called the Escapius by the Berroco design team. And this is a beautiful t-shirt that has a really bold floral design up one side of the shirt. It is knit in chunky weight yarn. I believe they use their Comfort yarn, which is an acrylic yarn, acrylic nylon yarn. So it's probably very lightweight, but this is something that you can definitely knit up with in like a cotton blend, or even in, you know, obviously the Berroco yarn itself that it calls for. But it's just a really nice, you know, looks like a really simple t-shirt, but it has that nice statement floral up the one side of the shirt. The next pattern is the Aliferous, I think, Aliferous, again, butchering the pattern, name by Asa Buchta. She is actually a member of the Berroco design team, and so she recently published this pattern though in Knitty, and I think she knitted up, if I remember correctly, in the Berroco remix, which I actually talked about in my last video. So I have knit with the Remix Light, my Tenya, which I was wearing in my last podcast episode. I knit up in the Remix Light, and this particular pattern actually is very reminiscent of the Tenya. If that is a pattern that you have been interested in, you know, this is obviously, it's not the same pattern. It's very reminiscent of the pattern. It has that, you know, sort of nice pattern detail on the bottom, as well as along the sleeves, and then it is knit in the chunkier version of the Remix yarn, which I mentioned last time is a completely recycled yarn, but which I think it's mostly cotton based, so you definitely could get away with knitting up this top in really any sturdy cotton that you have in your stash. The next pattern is Gemini by Jane Richmond, which I actually personally have knit before, and I'll insert a picture of my version here, but it is a DK weight top, and it's really beautiful because it has like these yarn over details on the yoke raglan shaping. And so what's nice about it is that it's reversible, so you could wear it with the sort of yarn over detail to the front or to the back. black. And I just think it is a wonderful summer top. Again, I've personally made it. I made it in a Cascade Pima cotton, I want to say. I don't recall off the top of my head, but it is a really great top. I wear it all the time in the summer, and that is another nitty free pattern that you can take advantage of. The next one is the Kudzu by Amelie Designs, and so this is a worsted weight cardigan that has a detailed yoke on it, and so this is probably not what you would think of as a spring summer garment, but again, I think that if you knit it in like a cotton wool blend, it would lend itself really nicely to the transitional weather when you want to layer things. I know I'm a big layer, especially in the spring and in the fall. I love to just throw on cardigans or light sweaters on top of my dresses, and so that's actually another way that I like to extend the wear of some of my summer clothes. So like in the spring, I'll throw on a cardigan with my dresses, and then like in the fall when it's cold, a cardigan and some tights. So it's just a way for me to wear my dresses longer. So I'm a big fan of cardigans, and I don't have too many I think that might be the only cardigan that I have in this list, but definitely in my fall list, as I mentioned, I do have quite a few more patterns that I think would be versatile for the spring and summer as well as the fall. And of course, it wouldn't be a free pattern video without mentioning Spastico. And so the one pattern of theirs that I have chosen is the Gather Round top. And so this one is a worsted weight t-shirt with a tie detail at the waist. So I believe that they did knit it in a wool. However, I think that, you know, in a wool cotton blend or even a full-on cotton blend, this will be a beautiful top. Again, it's just a pretty basic top with that little tie detail, which gives it a little bit of something, so you know, just feel a little bit special when you're wearing it, either layering it over something or just with your jeans or shorts. And then the last pattern that I have in my top 10 is the crisscross tank, or the crisscross top by Purl Soho. And again, I mentioned Spastico and Purl Soho, as well as Knitty, as really great free pattern resources for you in that last video. It's usually where I go to a lot of the time for free patterns, those places. So this top actually is knit in a worsted weight, and it is a tank, so it's sleeveless, and it has really structured lines. And the reason that I picked this one is because a lot of the time I feel like sometimes you can feel, especially if you work in an office setting, a more conservative office setting, you can feel like maybe some of your knits aren't necessarily office appropriate. And I think that this top is really great, especially now as, you know, the world is opening back up, people are going back to work. This is a top that I would actually probably wear to the office, not only on its own in the summer, but also layered under one of my suit jackets if I have a meeting, or, you know, under a cardigan if it's a little cold in the office. So it's just a beautiful tank with some really clean lines that I think is very versatile. And then last but not least, the bonus pattern that I have chosen is the Over the Top top, also by Purl Soho. And this is a very, very basic t-shirt. It's very boxy, it's DK weight. If I remember correctly when I looked at the pattern, I think it's kind of like knit in 2 panels, and then you just seam the shoulders and the sides, but it's just a really basic t-shirt pattern, which again, you know, I think is versatile in terms of the types of yarn that you use. It's a pattern that will really highlight the yarn that you use, especially because it's boxy. You can really play around with some drapier fabrics, you know, like a cotton linen blend, or even a linen silk blend or something like that that's really drapey. I think that those types of yarns would lend themselves really well to this pattern because of its boxy fit. So yeah, so those are the patterns that I have for you all today. I hope that you enjoyed sitting with me for this quick video where I shared these patterns. Let me know what you think of the patterns that I shared today. Let me know if you have any other staple free patterns for your spring and summer wardrobe. And of course, as always, any other questions are welcome in the form that I have at the bottom of all my, in my description box in all of my videos. I use any questions submitted there for future knit and chat videos. But I hope that you're all well, that you're having a good March, and I think my next video will be more of a vlog style video. It'll be a bonus video, so we'll see how that goes. In the middle of editing that right now. Otherwise, I will see you in the beginning of April for my next podcast episode. So definitely be sure to subscribe and give this video a like if this is the type of content that you like seeing, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.